Dear students, yesterday we have seen how to evaluate real integrals by means of Cauchy's theorem or by means of contour integration. Today we shall see another kind of problem which again we are going to evaluate by means of contour integration. So it is second time already. It is evaluation of from isotropic capacity of f of x dx. Here, range is from isotropic perspective of f of x dx. What x is here? X is real. Means we are going to evaluate the real integrals from isotropic perspective, or we may this is full range of prediction. Half range is what here 0 to infinity. Here, before we see the way of solving or evaluating this type of integrals here, do we require always Cauchy's theorem or contradiction? This is a question. See, for example, here, for example, suppose if it is a problem is evaluate lim of 0 to infinity of 1 by 1 plus x square dx. Do we need any assistance here? Is a question. But for such situations, we don't need any assistance here. Why? Because integrand is one of the standard form. What are the standard form? Whose integral is what here? Tan inverse x. Tan x. But apply here fundamental below calculus. So here x will equal 0 to 50. Apply here fundamental below calculus. Here it becomes here tan inverse of infinity minus tan inverse of 0. What happens here? That's the here 5 by 2 minus tan 0 is 0. Ultimately, value of the is what here 5 by 2. So that in such situations we don't need any assistance. Instead of this here, if I make a simple change, what means? Suppose if I change this here as 1 by 1 plus x whole square dx, then the problem begins here. So the difficulty begins here. In such situations, we require some resistance. The resistance is in the form of contour integration or Cauchy's residue theorem. To make use of Cauchy's residue theorem, first of all, we have to convert this real line integral in terms of complex line integral. So before we go through the problem, what we require in this question? Jordan is a mathematician who gave a beautiful lemma. He proved it. So that we have to first prove what is Jordan's lemma. So that we shall state and prove Jordan's lemma first. Then we shall see how to evaluate such of different methods. Jordan's lemma. First we shall take what is Jordan's lemma. The certain constraints of course here. If f of z is analytic, if f of z is analytic, in first one, the upper half of z plane or complex plane or organ plane. We call it as z plane or organ plane or complex plane. Second one, z plane, upper half of z plane, except that finite number of poles. Finite number of poles. This is first condition. Second thing is here, there are no poles. There are no poles on real axis or x axis. Real axis or x axis. Third one, for f of z less than equal to m by r raised to t. The physical meaning of this is here. f of z must be bounded. Here m stands for non-zero constant, real quantity constant, k greater than 1 always, and r is radius. So k greater than 1. K greater than 1. In other words, f of z is bounded for all z in this z. So if any constant principle is satisfied in these three conditions here, then we are able to prove here the most important result, what it is. Then C of f of z is equal to 2 pi r into sigma bi, where sigma bi denotes sum of the residues at its poles. Sum of the residues at its poles. So this is the statement of Jordan's lemma. Now, to prove this result here, we shall construct a figure first, so that the person become clear what it is here. With the help of the statement to me, if f of z is analytic in the upper half of z plane, so this is totally a complex plane on z plane. So we are taking only upper half of z plane, complex plane. So if f of z is analytic in upper half of z plane, except at some poles, here, to be analytic here, and no poles are. So second hypothesis here, there are no poles on x-axis. There are no poles on x-axis here, real x-axis here, no poles at all. So f of z is analytic everywhere on this real line. Third one is here, f of z must be bounded here. F of z is bounded here. There exists m real quantity such that f of z less than equal to m by r raised to k. What r is here? R is radius of this. So that with these three conditions here, we have to prove the result. Now I know all these things. Proof. Consider a closed constant C. Consider a closed constant C consisting of a semicircle semicircle C1, large so as to include all poles of the object, and C2 the part of real axis or x-axis from minus r to plus r. Minus r to plus r. As the poles of the object lies inside contour C. Therefore, we apply here Cauchy theorem. Therefore, by Cauchy's residue theorem, velocity of f of z dz is equal to 2 pi r into sigma bi. So 2 pi sigma bi, and sigma bi gives a sum of the residues at its poles. That is C. What is C? C is what here? C sum of the two. C sum of the two r. One is C1, another one is C2. That is C is what here? That is C is. Can we see that? Since C is equal to C1 plus C2, therefore we are here, in the C1 of f of z dz plus in the C2 of f of z dz is equal to 2 pi I into sigma bi. This is one of the property of definite integrals. So that we are here, what it is actually, in the C of f of z dz is equal to in the C1 of f of z dz plus in the C2 of f of z dz is equal to 2 pi I into sigma bi, and call it as 1. Call it as 1. Now we shall take these two. Remove these. Now, on C1, pick any problem that is r e raised to r theta, where 0 theta is equal to 0 to pi. In upper object plane, this is equal to pi only, because it is semicircle, right? Therefore, mod z equal to mod r e raised to r theta. This is mod r into mod e raised to r theta, but mod e raised to r theta is 1. Therefore, mod r is a non-integral number. So, therefore, automatically it is equal to mod z equal to r. And also length of C1. So, C1 is what here? Semi-spherical above the real axis. So, it is what here? Half of the total length here. This will be pi into r. It is pi into r. Also, we have from hypothesis 3. What is that? Now f of z greater equal to m by r is to k. M by r is to k. So keeping all these things here. Now we shall take it. Now consider modulus of C1 of f of z dz, and this is by using property of integration. Is less than equal to C1 of mod f of z into mod dz. But mod f of z is m by r square by hypothesis 3. It is m by r square into C1 of mod dz. C1 mod dz is written here by definition of length of curve here. Automatically it is nothing but length of curve C1 here. So this is equal to m by r square into length of curve C1. It is pi into r. And ultimately, now remove this thing, or modulus of C1 of f of z dz is greater equal to 1 r gets cancelled, 1 r gets cancelled, 1 r here. So what do we say? Is then equal to m by r is to k minus 1 into pi. M by r is k minus 1 into pi. Now, yes, r to here. Yes, because we have constructed a circle in such a way it includes all possible poles of the object. So it is solar. Solar means what here? Yes, the radius of this semicircle go on increasing. What distance is going to increase? It may increase up to infinity also. So that now as r tends to infinity, as r tends to infinity, automatically as r tends to infinity, m by r raised to k minus 1 into pi tends to 0, tends to 0. Therefore, what I will say? Therefore, open it here. Therefore, here modulus of C1 of f of z dz is tends to 0 as r tends to infinity. As r tends to infinity, this implies C1 of f of z dz is equal to 0 as r tends to infinity. So use this value of this result in 1. Now substituting in 1, what I will say? Substituting in 1, we have the C of f of z dz is equal to, this is 0, the C1 of f of z dz is equal to 0, first part 0, plus, or you can plus limit as r tends to infinity of in the C2 of f of z dz, and each is equal to 2 pi I into sigma dr, sum of the residues, so that the C of f of z dz is equal to limit as r tends to infinity of C2. What C2 is here? C2 is a part of real x from minus r to plus r. This part of real x from minus r to plus r. So that from here limit is r to infinity of from minus r to plus r of f of z dz. But on real axis, here z dz plus I1. But on real axis, imaginary part is 0. Imaginary part is 0 means here z is only x. So then we here if the r from minus r to plus r of f of x dx, and this is equal to 2 pi I into sigma dr. So that's what here. Given this, or इससे आंसर रिप्लेस here. If the answer is इसके आंसर रिप्लेस here, if a minus root 2 plus f of x dx is equal to 2 pi I into sigma dr. And that proves that. That is this equal to, we can write, first we have from this in terms of comparison integral by means of replacing z by x or x by z. So that we have ultimately value the integral is equal to, we have 2 pi into sigma by r. This is real quantity. So automatically we are able to get here value of real and integrals. So that shall take one or two examples to see that how Jordan's lemma is useful. For which I have taken one of the standard example. Most often it is asked in examination. There are two arbitrary constants. One is element, small element, and another is capital small a. These are arbitrary constants. These may be assigned any real numbers. Most of the times m and a are appeared, and sometimes m and a are replaced by 1. So that it's one of the standard example. So that I am going to solve it now. Here, in the evaluation of real and integral of this type here, Jordan's lemma play a vital role. The most important thing is here, to apply Jordan's lemma, f of z must respect three conditions. One is, it is already in the upper half of z plane, there is some except for some number of poles. Second thing is here, no poles on x axis or real axis. And third condition is that f of z must be bounded in this upper half of z plane. If it is so, then we are able to apply Jordan's lemma to evaluate these real line integrals. So this is how we do the Jordan's lemma. For any doubts, you can contact me through mobile or however through WhatsApp or whatever it is. So go through this lemma. After proving this lemma here, next in the next session I am going to take examples on this second type of real line integral.